In 2022, I published a video telling the story of YouTuber Zazef, a self-described incel, Runescape addict, and internet troll, most known for a video he uploaded 7 years ago titled "I Got Hugged by a Girl."
I want to tell you something that happened to me today. I got hugged by a girl. She was my cousin.
This girl hug video would turn the kid into a living meme of sorts, and for many years, Zazef, real name Alexander Rudenko, was revered as an underdog, a McLovin-type character who vlogged and documented his many embarrassing attempts at getting a girlfriend, openly sharing these efforts with the fan base who, despite the guy's creepiness, appreciated Zazef's honesty regarding his suboptimal standing in the realm of women.
Have you ever wanted to be my girlfriend? Will you be my girlfriend?
You're in the party bag.
Will you be my girlfriend? No?
She said, "Oh, don't touch me." And then with her water bottle, she spilled the water on me and I was all wet.
I need to get a girlfriend before I die of loneliness and depression. Can I have your phone number?
I have a boyfriend, I'm sorry.
Aw, dang it.
Zazef was so incompetent in his dealings with those of the opposite sex that many speculated that he could have been acting as a character intentionally, amplifying his creepiness in videos for comedic purposes. But then 2018 happened.
And is arrested after trying to meet up with a 13-year-old girl for sexual activity. The two met over social media, but little did he know he was actually meeting up with an undercover Roseville police officer.
In this year, any notion of Zazef not being a creep would be thrown out the window when he was arrested for committing the cardinal sin endeavored upon by many a disgraced YouTuber, attempting to meet up with someone he thought was a minor.
Oh, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Yes, the once thought to be innocuous incel through social media would make contact with someone who he thought was a 13-year-old girl and would allegedly make plans to meet her for sexual activity. However, when he arrived, the YouTuber wasn't met with a minor, he was met with an officer of the law, a Roseville City policeman in fact, and he was promptly booked. Abstaining from admitting guilt, Alexander's plea in response to the charge of contacting a minor with the intent to commit a specified sex offense would go down as no contest, and he would be sentenced for his egregious plot, made to serve 364 days in jail and a stint of probation. Following this disgraceful deed and time in the slammer, Zazef completely abandoned his once bustling channel, leaving behind a fan base who now hated him in a cursed backlog of videos, the contents of which became even more unsettling in light of his, at the time, recent arrest. Other than a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Live streams on a second channel, all things considered, it looked like Zazef's story was over. Maybe his encounter with the law shook some sense into Alex, and perhaps now he would be content in fading away from the public consciousness, thankful that his crime didn't land him serious prison time. That's what I thought, but boy was I wrong. Much has transpired in the world of Zazef in the 2 years since I last spoke about him. Alleged activity that has landed him behind bars not once, but twice, with the registered sex offender now facing over 10 years in prison for allegedly committing crimes very much similar to his original indictment.
I want to show you who we're talking about. 26-year-old Alexander Anatolievi Rudenko from Sacramento County. He was already a registered sex offender, now accused of assaulting 2 teen girls, one just 13 years old.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. How did Zazef go from his quiet post-2018 incarceration Yu-Gi-Oh! Streams to a cold jail cell for the second time? When Zazef was released from jail in 2019, he returned to a place of great familiarity, his childhood bedroom at his mom's house. Alex's probation had little stipulation around internet use, and he would quickly slide back into some old habits. Those, of course, being excessive online gaming and later in 2021, posting videos to YouTube. There were several live streams containing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Runescape gameplay posted around this time, all of them being broadcasted to the relatively obscure Zazef Live channel. which was Zazef's backup channel. While Alex did not speak in these videos, they are still significant in that it makes clear that he was very much active online after the incident. And while certainly meeker in presence, it seemed, despite his shameful criminal conviction, the guy still felt himself an individual worth following. Alex would post streams infrequently for some time. However, no real following would ever materialize, and the live channel struggled to break just 1,000 subscribers. The viewer counts were even more underwhelming. With his name besmirched, few sought out the registered offender's new content, and seeing this, a discouraged Zazef would become infrequent with live streams, turning more private in regard to his online activity, and beginning a period of elusiveness after uploading a Yu-Gi-Oh! Stream in January of 2022. One might naively think that after slinking away from these streams, Alex had come to the conclusion that he needed to leave the online life that had brought him nothing but trouble behind him, and maybe take a new path, stepping into the real world and getting an actual job and some friends. But anyone familiar with this self-described incel know better. Sadly, what we find is that Alex continued rotting at his mom's apartment, gaming near constantly isolated in his room, and even more unsettlingly, he had allegedly begun dabbling in the world of underage girls once again. On August 30th, 2022, Alexander Rudenko was arrested in Sacramento County, California, now charged with a crime even more serious than his solicitation of a minor charge from 2018. Authorities were accusing Alex of sexually assaulting not one, but two underage girls, aged 13 and 17 respectively. In total, he was hit with 5 suspected sexual abuse-related charges, including lewd acts with a child under 14, sodomy, and oral copulation. While it's unclear to me exactly how Alex came into contact with these girls, the media has reported that police had been monitoring Alex for some time, stating that he was known to frequent public parks and public spaces around Sacramento County. I think the implication of this statement from the police is rather obvious. Alex was swiftly put behind bars, but was controversially given a $135,000 bond, and the registered offender accused of another crime related to child predation was once again free to walk the streets, only serving a day in jail. While he would of course have to eventually go to court, the Roseville community was outraged at the decision to give him bail and let him walk. Like, why the fuck is a registered offender getting hit with the same shit allowed to walk away? The news of Zazef's arrest and the ludicrous circumstances surrounding his situation would be covered by the local press, who went to Alex's apartment complex to interview concerned citizens, and most notably, Alex's own mother, an individual who many, including the reporter, felt were enabling Alex.
This is Alexander Rudenko's latest mugshot, but he didn't stay in jail long, returning to his apartment complex in Antelope a day after being arrested for sexually assaulting teens. The address is right over here. What do you make of that?
It's not right. He shouldn't be here, plain and simple.
Ernesto Hernandez, a father of 3, concerned to say the least. Rudenko is accused of sexually assaulting teen girls, one 17, the other 13 years old. Should people be worried about their children out here?
Oh no, I'm living here for 5 years with him.
I went to his apartment. His mother answered the door saying her son has autism, doesn't communicate well, and there's no proof he did anything wrong. But these charges, did he touch those little girls?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't think so. Maybe those girls have to be responsible for them too.
Oh yeah, Mom, it's the minor's responsibility. Real classy. Despite the outcry from the public, Zazef would remain out of a cell and was allowed to continue his degenerate, neat lifestyle from the comfort of his mom's while he waited for his day in court. Just under 3 months later, Alex would be back online, quietly live streaming from his room again, almost in spite of the serious charges that he was facing. He broadcasted to an audience consisting of virtually 0 viewers, with stream titles that reflected his deeply isolated nature and further slide into gaming addiction and depression. Wasting my life in games. Can't sleep playing games. Wasting life in video game. No-life black pill doomer playing Yu-Gi-Oh game. Typically, I'd see some titles like this and assume them to be ironic, but I found that with Zazef, things that he says or do that appear ironic are typically just his actual thoughts. Like before, these streams were non-commentated, with Alex remaining tight-lipped regarding his current legal situation. However, around this period, Zazef would for the first time speak to someone in a public capacity regarding his original 2018 crime. This conversation would occur on the YouTube channel John Drinks Water. During a November 22nd of 2022 stream, the host takes a call from a viewer in chat who was none other than Alex himself. He was apparently a longtime fan of John's content and decided to break his silence, speaking somewhat candidly with the streamer. This call is significant in that it gives us some insight into Alex's perspective on his previous 2018 crime, and if he was remorseful for what he had done. And given some of his statements, that didn't appear to be the case.
Did you go to jail?
Yeah.
How long were you in jail? What was that like?
1 year.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, it was not like violent or anything. Nothing bad happened over there. It was just really depressing and boring. But yeah, I get to read like books and watch TV sometimes.
Wait, aren't you like a sex offender or something?
Well, yeah, now I am.
So are you allowed to do a live stream?
Yeah, I'm still allowed to be on the internet.
Oh, okay. What's the story with that? What's the details and what happened with that?
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about that. But it's just, yeah, it was like a sting operation. So then I was caught pretending to be an underage girl, like Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So if somebody looks at the sex offender map, you're on it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like forever.
I'm not sure if it's forever. It's at least 20 years, I think.
What's your deal? Are you autistic?
I might be. I have the mind of a child, I guess, if that counts as autistic.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said I have the mind of a child.
Zazef, a convicted offender awaiting his second trial related to an alleged sex offense, had very much become a black-pilled incel doomer, a deeply disturbed individual with a troubled existence. And this isn't me playing mind reader, as Alex essentially confirms it himself. Remarkably, the live streams I mentioned earlier and the live chats from within them are still archived by YouTube. Watching these streams, you'll find Alex typed many messages in chat, communicating silently with the handful of viewers that tuned in. Reviewing these streams in their respective chats, you can get a glimpse into his desolation, with Alex describing himself as a black-pilled doomer, insinuating a deep depression. Honestly, these streams with Alex chatting are some of the most depressing videos I've seen online. On the surface, these don't look like much, but when you really consider that Alex is essentially just typing into a void right here and is at this rock bottom state, there's something deeply unsettling about these streams. Just watching this guy wallow in isolation in a dark room, essentially opining about his shortcomings as a person and coping about being an incel to an audience of no more than 5 random strangers, it's sad, really. After viewing these stream chats, some of you out there may be tempted to feel a bit sympathetic for Alex. Well, what I'm about to disclose next might change things for you. In June of 2023, Alex's time in the free world would finally come to an end, after he was once again arrested, now facing a new slew of charges surrounding minors.
It's not right. He shouldn't be here, plain and simple.
Nothing's changed since that outrage. Rudenko got out on bail for allegedly assaulting a 13-year-old girl and a 17-year-old girl. And just this week,
again, arrested for possession of child porn.
On June 28th, Alex was brought in, with authorities alleging that he was in possession of child sexual abuse material. The previously convicted offender, who was out on bond, still fighting his second round of charges, now had been hit with a third set of disgusting allegations. This would obviously violate the terms of his bail. No longer allowed to rot in his bedroom at his mom's house, Alex would soon find himself in a cold jail cell as he awaits trial for both his alleged 2022 and 2023 infractions. And this time, thankfully, there is no new bond. About goddamn time. Getting Alex to trial has been easier said than done, as on numerous occasions, doctors have seemingly deemed Alex incompetent to stand trial. A brief look at an online court database with updates surrounding his cases seemed to suggest that the legal process has been mired by Zazef's apparent bouts of incompetency. Though what has been established in court is Zazef's plea in regard to the allegations: not guilty. Yes, it appears the YouTuber intends to fight the charges pressed against him in court. Zazef has even issued a message to the public from jail that was published to YouTube by the channel Shock City, where he alleges the police set him up in regard to his charges.
Hello, this is Alex Rudenko, and I'm currently in jail right now because of a big misunderstanding. I hope the victims can find it in their hearts to come out with the truth about me. I know the cops might have manipulated them to say stuff about me that isn't true. They're trying to give me over 10 years. I'm never going to be able to get a job. I'm never going to be able to get a family. My whole life is ruined, while everyone else in this situation is just sitting at home, hopefully enjoying their lives.
Those of you that are familiar with pedo hunter style videos are likely familiar with the sort of excuse that Zazef is giving here. And while I'm not saying that he's lying or anything, I'm skeptical of the excuse, to say the least. Zazef's spiral from cringeworthy kid to registered sex offender and alleged reoffender has been quite the spectacle to witness over the last several years. Despite being given numerous opportunities to turn his life around and several slaps on the wrist, Alex has still managed to find himself back in jail. So the question remains, will the cycle continue? Well, if Alex is found guilty of his alleged crimes by matter of him being in prison, I would say that the cycle wouldn't continue. However, if Alex beats the allegation and is released to rot in front of his computer screen again, the story of Zazef will continue on. And let's just hope the darkest chapters are behind us. I'd like to give a big thanks to the patrons for supporting this video. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.